What if your morning is secretly controlling your entire life? 2,000 years ago, a Roman emperor woke up not to comfort, but to chaos, war, betrayal, and pressure. One decision could reshape history, and yet he found peace. His name was Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king. And what guided him wasn't luck, and it wasn't power. It was a morning routine so powerful it forged the mind of an emperor. Today, that routine still exists. It's hidden in his writings, proven by science, and it might just be the missing key to unlocking your disciplined focus and inner peace. So ask yourself, if a man ruling an empire could start his day with clarity and strength, what excuse do we have? In this video, you're about to discover 9 morning habits from Marcus Aurelius that could transform your mornings and your destiny, starting tomorrow. Part 1, Wake Up with Purpose. What if your very first thought in the morning secretly decides who you become? Not your past, not your luck, not your circumstances, but your first thought. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive." That is not poetry, that is power. A mental reset that can shape the next 16 hours of your life. Imagine this, you open your eyes and instantly your brain asks a question. Is this day a threat or is it an opportunity? That question defines your emotional state for the rest of the day. Research from Harvard shows that your mood in the first 10 minutes of the morning predicts your productivity and stress levels for the next 8 hours. Think about that. 8 hours decided by 10 minutes. Let's reset. Take a deep breath. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold, and exhale slowly. Now say it with me. I am alive. I have purpose. I will begin. 2,000 years ago, Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire. But when he woke up, do you think he felt powerful? No. In his private journal, he wrote, "I open my eyes and feel the weight of duty upon me." But instead of resisting it, he embraced it. He didn't ask, "What will I get today?" He asked, "What can I contribute today?" That mindset is how ordinary people become warriors of the mind. Here's a Stoic experiment for you. For the next 3 mornings, ask yourself one question the moment you wake up. How can I contribute today? Then write down just one answer, not 3, not 10. 1. Help someone feel seen. Push yourself 1% further. Be kinder than necessary. Science calls this implementation intention, and you are 42% more likely to act on something once you write it down. So go ahead, anchor your day in purpose. Let's reset again. Say it with me one more time. Today I will contribute. The truth is, these people are not unhappy because life is hard. They're unhappy because they don't feel useful. Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." Your morning is your first chance to embody who you could become. Marcus faced war, betrayal, sickness. Yet he never complained. Instead, he wrote, "The obstacle becomes the way." So ask yourself, if an emperor can choose purpose in the midst of pressure, what excuse do we have tomorrow morning? Don't just wake up. Arrive. Don't check your phone. Check your purpose. Because if you didn't choose your first thought, someone else will. And usually it's an algorithm. So begin your day with the sentence Marcus used to rule his empire. I have work to do as a human being. Not as a worker, not as a consumer, as a human being. Let's take one final breath. Inhale purpose, exhale excuses. Try this for just 3 mornings, then come back to this video and tell me what changed. Because now that your mind has purpose, it's time to prepare for battle. In part 2, we dive into premeditatio malorum, the Stoic way to anticipate challenges before they appear. Marcus didn't wait for problems, he trained for them. Are you ready to do the same? Let's continue. Part 2, premeditatio malorum. One of the most powerful Stoic practices is called premeditatio malorum, meaning the premeditation of evils. Marcus Aurelius didn't wait for problems to appear, he mentally prepared for them before the day began. He wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Imagine tomorrow your coffee spills, traffic slows to a crawl, someone is rude to you, a plan falls apart. These moments feel random, but they are predictable. And if they are predictable, they are trainable. Take a deep breath with me. Inhale, hold, exhale. Now picture the challenges you might face today. The stress, the criticism, the discomfort. Marcus wrote, "When you wake each morning, tell yourself, today I shall meet with interference, ingratitude, arrogance, jealousy, and selfishness. This is not negative thinking, it is mental armor. Modern psychology calls this technique cognitive rehearsal, preparing the mind before reality strikes. Research from Stanford University shows that mentally rehearsing stressful scenarios reduces emotional reactivity by up to 32%. Think about that, you become 32% calmer before anything even happens. That is how warriors train. Let's reset, repeat after me. When it happens, I will already be ready. Let me tell you a quick story. A samurai was once asked, what is the difference between an ordinary man and a warrior? He replied, the warrior bleeds before the battle. That is premeditatio malorum. Not suffering, more suffering, smarter. Here's your challenge. Before you pick up your phone tomorrow morning, write down the 3 most likely problems you may face. Then write a response for each one: calm, clear, stoic. For example, traffic, I will use it to practice patience. Negative people, I will not let borrowed anger control my day. Unexpected tasks, I will adapt with strength. Now read them out loud. You are training your mind like a soldier sharpens a blade. Let's reset. Take a breath. Say it with me. Obstacles are teachers in disguise. People don't fail because life hits them. They fail because they never saw the punch coming. Marcus believed that 95% of pain is in the anticipation. Once it happens, it's rarely as bad as we imagine. And when it is, you are already ready. A prepared mind is a free mind. So tomorrow when someone tests your patience, don't say, why is this happening? Say, I trained for this. That is the mindset of a Stoic. That is the mindset of an emperor. Let's breathe one last time. Inhale, readiness. Exhale, fear. Now that you are mentally armored, we move to part 3. How Marcus Aurelius trained his body not for vanity, but for discipline. The Stoics understood something powerful: the body is the doorway to the mind. And if you can command your body, you can command your life. Are you ready to step into that strength? Let's move forward. Part 3, cold exposure, movement. The Stoics believed that the body is the gateway to the mind. Marcus Aurelius didn't seek comfort. He sought control. He wrote, if it is endurable, then endure it. Stop complaining. That sentence is not brutal, it is liberating. Because once you stop running from discomfort, you start gaining power. Let's imagine a different kind of morning. No scrolling, no rushing, just you and cold water, a cold shower, 10 push-ups, 1 minute of movement. You don't need armor, you only need action. Science shows that 30 seconds of cold exposure increases dopamine levels by up to 250%, the same surge created by some addictive drugs, but in a clean, empowering form. That means your brain rewards you for strength. Let's reset, take a breath. Inhale, courage. Exhale, hesitation. Most people wait to feel motivated before they act. But motivation is not the beginning, it is the result. The Stoics understood this deeply. Epictetus wrote, first say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do. You don't get discipline, first you earn discipline through action. Each repetition is a contract with your future self. So here's your Stoic challenge. Tomorrow morning before breakfast, before your phone, do just one of the following: 30 seconds of cold water on your face, 10 push-ups, even if you do them slowly. Walk outside for 3 minutes before the world wakes up, not to look good, not to chase results, but to remind your brain, I am not controlled by comfort. A study from Cambridge found that people who start their day with physical action are 67% more likely to follow through with goals for the rest of the day. Why? Because the first decision sets the tone for all others. Win the first battle and the others become easier. Let's reset again. Say it with me. I train my body to free my mind. Even Marcus, an emperor with limitless power, warned himself against laziness. He wrote at dawn, when you rise unwillingly, let this thought be present: I am rising for the work of a human being. Your body is not your weakness. It is your instrument. And a sharpened instrument plays a powerful song. So tomorrow morning, don't wait to feel ready. Begin. Cold water, movement, breath, pain, strength. Comfort will make you soft, but challenge will make you alive. Let's breathe once more. Inhale strength, exhale excuses. And now that your mind is awake and your body is alive, it's time for clarity. In part 4, we go into a Stoic practice used by emperors, CEOs, and athletes alike. Journaling not as therapy, but as mental warfare. Because once your thoughts are on paper, they can no longer control you. Are you ready to see your mind more clearly than ever before? Let's continue. Part 4, Journaling. Imagine waking up, and before the noise of the world enters your head, you choose your first thought. You don't react. You design your mind for the day. Marcus Aurelius did exactly that. Every morning he wrote in his private journal, not to share with the world, but to confront himself. He wrote the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. So he decided to choose those colors before life chose them for him. Let's reset, take a breath. Inhale clarity, exhale chaos. Journaling is not about writing beautifully. It's about seeing your thoughts outside of your head. Because when your thoughts stay inside, they grow, they twist, and they start controlling you. But once they are written down, they get weaker and you get stronger. Psychologists call this cognitive diffusion, separating yourself from your thoughts. A study at UCLA showed that simply labeling your feelings with words reduces emotional intensity by up to 40%. Writing isn't an escape, it's a weapon. So what did Marcus write? 3 powerful questions. What do I control? What do I not control? What am I grateful for? That's it. 3 questions that can change everything. Because anxiety grows when we try to control what is not ours. Marcus wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Your journal is your training ground." Let's reset. Say it with me. I write to understand, not to impress. Try this for the next 3 mornings. Open a blank page and write just 5 lines. 1 problem you're facing. What you control about it. What you don't control. 1 thing you're grateful for. 1 sentence of courage. Don't write like a poet. Write like a warrior. Let the page hold your worries so your mind can stay light. A famous Stoic principle states, "An undisciplined mind is like a river without banks. It floods everything." When you write, you create those banks. You direct the flow. Suddenly, the day doesn't feel heavy. The world doesn't feel hostile. Because you have already examined your mind before it's tested. Let's breathe. Inhale awareness. Exhale resistance. Marcus never intended his writing to become famous. In fact, his book, Meditations, was never meant to be published. It was simply conversations with himself, a reminder of who he wanted to be, a battle plan for his own weaknesses. That's why journaling is not an ego exercise, it's an honesty exercise. Write not what makes you look strong, but what makes you become strong. So tomorrow morning before your phone lights up, let your mind become ink. And remember this, if you don't write your thoughts will write your day. Now that your purpose is set, your body is energized, and your mind is clear, it's time to feed your spirit with something powerful. In Part 5, we explore a forgotten habit of Marcus Aurelius, the habit that shaped emperors, scientists, and CEOs throughout history, reading not for escape but for elevation. Because the words you consume become the thoughts you live with. Are you ready to choose those words wisely? Let's keep going. Part 5, read something powerful. Before the world enters your mind, choose what enters first. Marcus Aurelius began his days by reading philosophy, not for intelligence but for orientation. He believed your mind is like a ship, and if you don't set the direction early, the wind will choose for you. In his journal, he wrote, "The things you think about determine the quality of your mind." That is not a metaphor. That is a law. Let's reset, take a breath. Inhale, focus, exhale, distraction. Here's a powerful truth. Most people do not wake up. They download the day. They reach for their phone and instantly drown in opinions, news notifications, comparison. The Stoics would call this mental slavery because the moment your mind reacts to something you didn't choose, you lose control over your direction. A study from the University of Essex found that just 5 minutes of reading something uplifting in the morning increases optimism and resilience by up to 32%. Meanwhile, checking social media first thing increases anxiety by 27%. Your morning consumption becomes your mental consumption. What you feed your mind determines how you feel about life. Let's reset. Say it with me. My morning mind is sacred. You don't need hours. You don't need a library. All you need is a spark. That spark can be a page from a book, a paragraph from a Stoic text, or even one powerful quote. Try this tomorrow morning. Read just 10 lines from something that lifts you higher. Then pause. Sit with it. Let it sink into your thoughts. Because information is not power. Absorption is power. Marcus read not to escape reality, but to confront it. He studied Epictetus, Seneca, nature itself. They trained his mind to stay unshaken in a world on fire. And today we have more access to knowledge than any emperor in history, yet many feel more lost than ever. Let's breathe again. Inhale intention, exhale noise. Here's your Stoic challenge tomorrow before touching your phone. Feed your mind on purpose. Try one of these read 10 lines from meditations. Listen to 3 minutes of an audiobook. Reflect on one Stoic quote and write what it means to you. Then ask yourself, what idea will guide me today? It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be yours. Because once you claim your first thought, you begin to claim your day. Marcus believed that a life without philosophy is like a body without breath. Reading was his oxygen. Not for pride, but for peace. Not to appear wise, but to learn how to live. Let's reset one last time. Say it with me slowly. I feed my mind before the world feeds on it. Now that your thoughts are anchored with wisdom, it's time to protect your attention. Because wisdom means nothing if the world steals your focus. In part 6, we explore one of the most essential Stoic skills, delaying reactions. The art of choosing your first move. Don't open your phone. Don't react. Choose your opening move like a strategist preparing for a battle. Are you ready to master your attention? Let's continue. Part 6. Delay reactions. In the first moments of your day, the most dangerous enemy is not fear or stress or even exhaustion. It is reaction. The moment you grab your phone, you hand over your direction to someone else. A notification, a message, an algorithm, an opinion. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You always own the option of having no opinion." In other words, you always have time before you react. Take a breath with me. Inhale control, exhale reaction. The Stoics believe that freedom begins where reactivity ends. Epictetus said, if someone succeeds in provoking you, remember your mind is complicit in the provocation. We are not controlled by events themselves. We are controlled by how quickly we react to them. People don't lose peace because of problems, they lose peace because they react before thinking. Modern science confirms this. A study at MIT found that waiting just 5 minutes before reacting to a message or email reduces emotional reactivity by 43%. Why? Because in those 5 minutes, the prefrontal cortex, the rational part of your brain, has time to activate. You become calmer, clearer, stronger. And that is Stoicism applied. Let's reset, say it slowly with me. I don't react immediately, I choose my response. So here is a powerful Stoic challenge. For the next 3 mornings before checking your phone, try a 90-second pause. Don't rush. Don't respond. Just breathe. Stretch. Drink water. Choose your first thought. You're not ignoring the world, you're entering it with clarity, not chaos. Marcus never allowed his mornings to become battlegrounds of emotion. He wrote, "The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. Not what happened, not what people said, but the thoughts you choose to begin with." The average person checks their phone within 3 minutes of waking up. By that time, dopamine is hijacked by notifications, trends, emails, opinions, expectations. You haven't even stretched, but your brain is already consumed. The Stoics would call this self-inflicted slavery, voluntary surrender of attention. Let's breathe. Inhale awareness, exhale automation. Remember, this pausing is not weakness. Pausing is power. Chess masters do not move instantly, they analyze. Surgeons do not cut instantly, they focus. Marcus didn't react to life, he responded to it. Not as a prisoner, but as a strategist. So tomorrow morning, before you react to anything, ask yourself, is this worthy of my energy? If yes, respond with strength. If no, protect your peace. Let's reset once more. Say it with me. Reaction is automatic. Response is chosen. I will choose. And now that your mind is steady, we enter a new level of focus. In part 7, Marcus teaches us how to define the victories of the day. Not chaotic to-do lists, not endless tasks, but 3 clear wins that make the day meaningful. Because direction is more powerful than speed. Are you ready to define your wins? Let's move forward. Part 7, define wins of the day. What if I told you that busyness and progress are not the same thing? You can run all day and end up nowhere. The Stoics knew this deeply. That's why Marcus Aurelius never started a day without defining his wins. Not random tasks, not a long list, but 3 meaningful victories. He wrote, if you seek tranquility, do less. Or do what's essential. Do less better. These words are not just ancient philosophy. They are a strategy for a life with direction. Let's reset, take a breath. Inhale clarity, exhale noise. Imagine this, you wake up. You open your journal. And instead of listing 10 tasks, you ask one powerful question. If I could only achieve 3 things today, what should they be? This question activates something special in your brain called the reticular activating system, the RAS. It filters distractions and hunts for what truly matters. Once you define your 3 wins, your brain begins looking for ways to achieve them automatically. A study from Dominican University found that people who write down specific goals are 42% more likely to achieve them. Not do better today, not be productive, but precise, clear victories. The Stoics didn't believe in vague intention. They believed in deliberate action. Let's reset, say it with me. I don't chase everything. I choose what matters. Most people start their day reacting to emails, notifications, crises. By noon, they feel scattered. By evening, they feel defeated. Not because they were lazy, but because they lacked direction. Seneca warned, if a man does not know to what port he is sailing, no wind is favorable. Productivity without clarity is just sophisticated procrastination. So here's your Stoic practice. Each morning before work, before distractions, define 3 wins using these categories. 1 win for yourself, health, growth, learning. 1 win for your work contribution, creativity, completion. 1 win for someone else, kindness, support, patience. That's it. 3 victories, not 10. 3. This is Stoic minimalism, intentional living, not accidental survival. Let's reset. Inhale, focus. Exhale, confusion. Here's a story. A young soldier once asked a general, "How do you win battles?" The general replied, "You don't fight every battle. You choose the right battles." That is the essence of Stoic strategy. Your energy is not unlimited, so don't spend it like it is. Choose your battles wisely. Conserve strength for what truly matters. Marcus Aurelius didn't have time for everything. He was at war, ruling an empire, battling illness, but he still wrote daily about his most essential tasks. Not everything, just what mattered most that day. That's why his mind stayed sharp, because confusion cannot survive where clarity lives. Now let's get practical. Here's your challenge for the next 3 mornings. Step 1, write the phrase, "Today will be a success," if step 2. Write 3 bullet points, your 3 wins. Step 3, at night reflect. Did you win them? Why or why not? This transforms your day from autopilot into deliberate living. Let's reset one more time. Say it with me, direction is power. I choose my direction. But here's the trap, many people define wins like they're checking boxes, and that's not enough. Remember, Marcus said, what is not good for the beehive cannot be good for the bee, meaning success without contribution is empty. That leads us to the next part of this routine, and perhaps the most human part. Service. Contribution. Making someone else's day better. The Stoics believe that a day without contribution is a day half-lived. So tomorrow morning, when you define your 3 wins, make sure one of them is not just about you. Because greatness is not built on selfish achievement, but meaningful connection. Let's take one final breath. Inhale, purpose. Exhale, ego. Your energy is sacred. Spend it wisely. And now your vision is set. You know what matters. So in part 8, Marcus Aurelius teaches us something deeper. Why serving others can make you stronger than serving only yourself. The Stoics believed helping one person might not change the world, but it can change the world for that one person. Are you ready to add meaning to your victories? Let's continue. Akines. Part 8, serve others. Let me ask you a question. What if true strength is not about how much you achieve, but about how much you uplift others? Marcus Aurelius believed this deeply. He wrote, "What's bad for the beehive cannot be good for the bee." A powerful reminder that individual success means nothing if it does not contribute to something greater. Let's reset. Take a breath. Inhale humility. Exhale ego. In the modern world, loneliness has become a silent epidemic. Studies show that over 36% of adults feel persistently lonely, even while being surrounded by people. The Stoics believe that loneliness is not the absence of people, but the absence of purposeful connection. We don't need constant attention, we need meaningful contribution. Marcus didn't have social media, but he wrote in his journal about empathy, duty, and kindness more than any other topic. He once wrote, "We are made for cooperation like feet, hands, and eyelids." He believed that humans are built not to compete, but to complete one another. Let's reset, say it with me. I grow when I help others grow. Imagine this. You walk into your day not asking, what do I get, but instead asking, who can I help today, even in the smallest way, not for praise, not for recognition, but because contribution builds confidence. Not the loud kind, but the quiet, unshakable kind. A recent study in the Journal of Happiness found that people who perform one small act of kindness each day feel significantly more fulfilled even if no one notices. Why? Because humans aren't wired for isolation. Our brains reward generosity with a release of oxytocin, the hormone of connection, meaning you feel stronger when you help others feel seen. Now take a breath. Inhale connection, exhale indifference. Marcus Aurelius didn't write about heroic acts. He wrote about small, simple acts of virtue, a kind word, honest work, patient listening. He said, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. The Stoic way is not loud. It's not flashy. It's consistent, reliable, grounded. So here's your morning Stoic challenge. When you write your 3 wins of the day, make one of them about someone else. Try one of these, send a message to someone who needs encouragement. Help someone feel understood, not judged. Offer patience when anger's easy. Give without seeking anything in return. It doesn't have to be big, it just needs to be intentional. Because when you contribute, you rewire your brain, you stop feeling invisible, you stop chasing validation, you become useful, and usefulness is the root of confidence. Let's reset. Say it with me slowly, I serve, therefore I grow. But what if people don't appreciate you? What if your kindness is ignored? Marcus had his answer ready. He wrote, when you do good and are not praised, you have not lost anything. True goodness, he believed, does not need applause. It stands on its own. So help others not because the world sees you, but because you see who you can become. Here's a small story. A student once told his Stoic teacher, I feel small, like I don't matter. The teacher replied, then do something that matters to someone else. That student later devoted his mornings to serving his family and community, and found more purpose in 10 minutes of service than he ever did in years of chasing success. Service was not a duty, it was an awakening. Once more, let's breathe. Inhale purpose, exhale pride. Tomorrow, try this. Instead of asking, how do I feel today? Ask, how can I be useful today? You may discover a powerful truth that meaning is not found. Meaning is created through contribution. And now your morning routine is almost complete. Purpose gives you direction. Discipline gives you strength. Clarity gives you peace. Service gives you meaning. But there is one more, perhaps the most profound Stoic practice of all. A reminder that life is not endless and that urgency is sacred. In part 9, we face the truth that Marcus Aurelius used to shape every decision he made, memento mori. Remember, you will die, not to fear death, but to live more deeply. Take one last breath. Inhale awareness, exhale distraction. Are you ready to face the ultimate Stoic lesson? Let's continue. Part 9, memento mori. Let me ask you something. What if your greatest strength is remembering that your time is limited? The Stoics believed this deeply. They called it memento mori. Remember, you will die, not to create fear, but to create urgency. Marcus Aurelius wrote, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Pause, now breathe. Inhale awareness, exhale distraction. Death is not a dark subject. It is a mirror showing us what truly matters. Neuroscientists found that when people actively reflect on their mortality, they become more focused, less anxious, and more generous. Why? Because when you realize time is limited, suddenly the meaningless things lose their power over you. Think about this. In an average lifetime, you get around 4,000 weeks. That's it. Not 100 years, not decades. 4,000 weeks. How many have already passed and how many do you have left? Let's reset. Say it with me, I don't have forever. I have now. Marcus didn't fear death. He used it as a compass, a guide for making powerful decisions. He wrote, "Do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. Death hangs over you. While you can become good." Notice this, he doesn't say, "Be successful." He says, "Become good," because goodness survives longer than achievements. Let me tell you a story. A soldier once asked his commanding officer, "What is the strongest weapon a man can carry into battle?" The officer replied, "The knowledge that he may not return, because then every move becomes intentional." That is memento mori, not fear but focus. Let's breathe again. Inhale presence, exhale regret. We often say one day it'll start, one day it'll change, one day it'll live differently. But the Stoics remind us that one day is not a date on the calendar. One day is now, or it never comes. Research shows that people who lived with urgent gratitude, people who acted as if time mattered, experienced higher fulfillment, stronger relationships, and regrets reduced by almost 60%. Memento mori is not a reminder of death, it's a command to live before your time is up. Now here's your Stoic challenge. Tomorrow morning when you wake up, write this sentence. If today were my last day, how would I choose to live it? Not in panic, but with precision. Maybe you would apologize to someone. Maybe you would begin a dream you've delayed for 10 years. Maybe you would say, "I love you" more often. Or maybe you'd simply slow down and pay attention. The sound of the wind, the warmth of your coffee, the voice of someone you care about. This is not weakness. This is awakening. Let's reset once more. Say it with me. Knowing I will die teaches me how to live. Marcus Aurelius ruled a vast empire, but in his final days he wrote not about power, not about conquest, but about virtue. He understood that everything can be taken away except one thing, the person you choose to be before your time runs out. Look around your life. What have you postponed? What dream has collected dust? What words have gone unsaid? Do not wait for the perfect moment, because the perfect moment is created, not found. Let's breathe. Inhale courage, exhale delay. You have listened to 9 Stoic morning principles: purpose, preparation, physical strength, clarity, wisdom, focus, direction, contribution, and now mortality. These are not just habits. They are a way of living, a way of deciding every single morning who you will be in this world. Marcus didn't live forever, but his principles did. Because a meaningful life doesn't need to be long. It only needs to be honest. Now let me ask you, how will you live knowing that time is finite? Will you wait, or will you begin today? Let's breathe one last time. Inhale life, exhale fear. If this routine inspired you, don't let it fade. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." So be your own proof. Try it for just 3 mornings. Not a month, not a year, just 3. Then come back to this video and tell me, did something change? Did your thoughts shift? Did your mornings feel different? Or perhaps did you feel different? If you felt even 1% stronger, then this journey has already begun. Like, share, and subscribe to Making Life Better, because next week, unlock the evening routine of Marcus Aurelius, how to reflect, release, and reset your mind before sleep. Now, I want you to join this movement. Comment just one word below, and that word is discipline. Let's shape tomorrow morning together.